Now we're going to get started on our album itself. So it's a nice album, a good size, 6x8 with a 2.5-inch spine with 4 page settings on the inside. So let's get started. Packet 1, you have a complete sheet here to use to go by, and all the little components that go in packet 1 are right here. We're going to use part of these right now, and then we're going to save part of them for when we finish our cover later. That's very important. You'll notice there's a line here that says save the following for later in the videos. Like, we don't want to add the tassel and the cover pieces because we want the album to be completely flat when we start putting our pages in and decorating those. So we're going to save those pieces till later. So we're going to do the first part of this. You're going to need all the contents that's here, plus you're going to need to use the enclosed distress pad and applicator, which we're going to be using here in a little bit, and you're going to be needing to use the black gaffing tape. I've included a roll in your kit. It is another way for you to bind both the front cover and the spine. You can see it here. It is very durable because of the fact that it does not crease over time and will be a longer lasting hinge. The book's heavy, and I want you to be able to enjoy it for many years to come. So I've got some nice heavy chipboard here that's already pre-cut for you into 8.5 by 6.5. All the measurements are your width by your height. And then our spine, which is 2.5 by 6.5. So the brown cardstock that you have here, excellent cardstock, by the way. You're going to like the way it feels on your book. We're going to cover our chipboard with the brown cardstock. So let's get started. You can either use double stick adhesive tape or you can use glue, whichever you rather. I'm going to go ahead and use glue today and apply it to my chipboard. You can apply it on the paper if you prefer. Put a nice coat. And I'm going to put this down right in the middle so I have about 1 inch margin on any side. Press this down like that. Good. Now I'm going to start training my paper. We've done this so many times, haven't we? We're going to go ahead and start bending it a little at a time so that we train the paper fibers instead of breaking them. I do my long sides first, just habit, I guess. Alrighty, then the short sides. And you'll notice I'm actually using my burnishing tool to crease that so that I have a nice crease at the end here. And I want it nice and tight against the chipboard. Take your time. This is important, so don't rush it. Okay. Now that I've got that done, I'm going to take my double stick adhesive. You can use 1/4 inch. You can use 3/8 inch. Let me grab one here. Whatever comes out will be the one. All right, we're using 1/4 inch today. So I'm going to take it and I'm just going to stick it down to my chipboard like that. And on the outside edge of my paper. Now we're going to be trimming that, so I don't need to waste an extra 1/2 inch on either of these sides here. That corner is going to be coming off. So I'll take it and save every inch I can. There we go. And one more. There we are. Now, I'll quickly do this one. Now, both the front and the back covers are going to be done the same exact way. So we're going to do the first one together, and then I'm going to go off camera to do the second one. I think you can appreciate this time-saving mode by me doing that. So watch this one, and then you can do the other one on your own. Now I'm taking my burnishing tool, and this is important. I am pressing down on my tape to make sure that it secures to the paper. Okay, now I put my glasses on. I take my scissors as soon as I find a pair. You know, you lay everything out but the obvious things. All right, and now I'm going to miter this. You can either do a complete 45-degree angle, or you can do a smaller angle like this, but keep it within like 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16. That's cutting it awfully close. I like to do 1/8 of an inch there so that you can see there's a little bit of paper left, okay? That'll cover that edge of the corner. And I'm going to do all 4 sides this way. See, I told you we'd be cutting off those little pieces of tape. Good. Now, I'm going to take my long pieces and my short pieces and pull all of my backings off. I broke several fingernails yesterday moving some furniture. And so I had to cut all my fingernails off. And they look horrible. Don't look at them. And I can't get my tape cover backings off. I don't have a thumbnail to pull them off with, which is what I usually use. There we go. Now I'm going to take my glue again. I'm going to put a thin bead down through there. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit right in here. This extra glue will help bind that together. So I can pull this over now tightly. Notice I start in the middle. And if I have extra glue, I rub it off with a cotton rag or with a Viva paper towel. And then I press down on this edge. Good. Now I'm going to flip it around and do the other long side. Now, there's going to be extra glue that comes out there. So I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to press this down. Okay, see the glue coming out? So I can take these are wonderful dish towels. You know, the old flour sack dish towels? They don't make lint. So when you rub your paper, it doesn't put anything on your book itself. I buy them and cut them up into small little hanky type pieces, and that's what I use to get the glue off my book. And occasionally, you'll see a dog here. Because I have puppies. I have little, big, and medium. All right, one more. Excellent. Now we'll go through and push these down, make them nice and flat. And now I have my cover done. Isn't that beautiful? Nicely done. If you have little extra paper showing on the end along that's sticking out, you can clip that. So go off camera and do your second one. Then we'll come back and do the spine. All right, now that we have both of our covers completed, we're going to work on the spine cover. And for the spine cover, you have a piece of chipboard that is 2.5 inches wide by 6.5 tall. And then you have the cover itself, which is 5.5 by 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to position it there so you can get an idea of how it's going to look. And we're going to apply the tape or the glue, whichever you decide to use, to the back of this. Okay. Now I'm going to take my finger and smear it a little bit because I got it on kind of thick. Now I'm going to take this and place it down. Let me see if I can get it straight. That's pretty close right there. Good. use my burnishing tool and burnish that down. Going around the edges really helps define it a little bit when you get ready to break those fibers. So now I'm going to go and do my long sides again very gently. Now this is different than what you've done before. Instead of actually attaching this to the front and back covers, we're going to do this independently as a wrap rather than making it a hinge. So I got to be very careful here. And I'm going to try to press that down. Good. And then do this one. We're just wrapping the spines, all we're doing. We're going to join the spine and the cover using the gaff tape in a minute. So I'm just wrapping this like I would the front and back cover. Okay. This is a completely different type of binding, so I'm eager to show it to you. It's not real scientific. It's not real hard, but it's a long-lasting alternative. Gaff tape is a cloth-covered tape that can take a lot of wear and tear. See, it's got a very, kind of like duct tape on this side, and this side is a plastic coating or cloth. And they do wear very, very well. So let me go ahead and get this on here. Like I said, we're just going to cover it like we would a regular book. Front or back cover. All right. Burnish that down. All right. Pull the tapes off. Oops. Before I pull the tapes off, I need to miter my corners. Sorry, guys. Almost missed that point, didn't I? I'm not used to doing that on a spine. Oops. Jumped right out of my hands. Okay, let me get this one just a little bit better. Those look good. Okay, now I can pull my backings off and apply my glue and wrap this. If I can get a hold of it. Guess I'll do it with my left hand. There we go. Okay, pull those off. I pulled that one loose, but I'll glue it back. Then I'm going to apply my glue just like I normally do. Pull this over. And you can see these are going to overlap a little bit. When I made this spine, I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do it. So I made this a little longer in case I wanted to attach it to the book itself. I kind of like this way, though. I think this will be just fine. See, they're overlapping just a little bit. It's okay. One more piece here. And I'll go ahead and spin it around and do this one too. Pull that one over. And pull this one over. Good. Now, that's the cover for my spine. Square them up. All right, now let's lay out the cover itself. We're going to have this piece, and this piece. We need to join them all together. To do that, I'm going to use the gaffing tape. So I'm going to flip them over. Okay. And I've cut my gaff tape to approximately 14 inches. Okay, I'm going to lay it down. If you'll look at the book itself, you'll see that you don't see the gaff tape anywhere really, except at the very bottom and at the very top. So we're going to join the tape right here in the middle. Okay, let me pull out just a little bit. Oop, a little bit too much there. All right, now I'm going to take this. And I tell you what, I'm going to use a pencil to kind of hold it in place, because it sticks to my fingers pretty darn good. And I'm going to do a mess. See how gently you got to do it? You can't, it holds once you get it down. So I'm going to take it now right in the middle, and I'm going to lay it down to where it has about 3/8 of an inch on the front. Okay, then I'm going to lay this one down. I'm going to lay this one down where it leaves about 1/8 of an inch, like that. Then I'm going to wrap this up and wrap this up. And there you have a hinge, guys. Cool, huh? Another 14-inch piece. I'm going to lay my spine down right about the middle, and I'm going to overlap it like that. Again, take my backing, line it up so it's very, very straight. Give yourself about 1/8 of an inch. There we go. Pull your tape up. Pull your tape down. And then burnish everything. I sell gaffing tape in black and in white. There you go. Is that not easy peasy? And that's the way you construct it. Now we're going to go ahead and proceed to do the spine and the gusset. It's going to be one large piece that's cut to 12 inches by 6 inches, and it's been scored for you. Scored, go in at 3 inches, then every 1/2 inch over to 9.5 inches. Yes, it's not quite the same evenness on both ends. So we're going to score after we've got this scored, which we've done it ahead of time for you, we're going to fold this. And I went ahead and did a dummy one just so I could show you how it's going to go. There's going to be a crease here for your spine. Then you have one up, and then over, then another one up, over, so that when you get through, this is what you're going to have. 4 mountains, if I can hold them. Okay, you're going to have 4 mountains, and then there'll be a 1/2 inch on either side of your mountains before we anchor this down to our book. See, this will go in here like this and fit exactly like that. So now we're going to start by pleating and scoring this. So I'm going to take and skip this first line and go to the second line, and I'm going to fold it up. Move my book out of the way. Okay, then go down, keeping this straight. That's important that you keep all of these straight. And then I'm going to fold down again. These sides should be even at all times. There's my first mountain. Okay, I'm going to go over now. So this one's going to go like this. This one's going to, the next one is going to go up. Hard to show you this on camera, I'm sorry. I'll recap right now. So from the left side, I've got my 1/2 inch space. I went up, then down then over. Then I went up. Now I'm going down. See, I'm making that mountain pleat. Now I'm going over. I'm going to go back up again. Make my mountain. See, up, down, mountain. And then this is going down. It's going to go over now. And then back up again. Back down again. And then, of course, over again. Okay, so there we have it. We got 4 pleats, and on either side of the pleat, we've got a 1/2-inch border before the next scored line. Now, let's go ahead and tape those pleats together. So I'm going to take my tape, and I'm going to stick it down in there on all my mountains. With them turned upside down, they look like valleys. Okay. Trust me, this is going to work if I can get it in the camera here. There we go. Score those down so they stay. Okay, good. Now I'm going to pull this up. And I'm going to fold that over. You can add glue if you wish. This will hold, though. I'm not worried. Now I'm going to pull this one up. And I'm going to fold it over. See, it's working. See how we're doing there? Okay. Now I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to pull this one off. And I'm going to fold it over. Pull this one off and fold it over. Now I have my 4 gussets. If you want to trim that off, you can, but we're going to be trimming it in a second anyway, so just wait. I know I had tape showing. Now that I've got that, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. Let me see if I can get it in the camera so you can see. I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle off the top. And I'm going to turn it around and do the same on the bottom. This way my pages will slide in very easily to my book. Can you see how they're angled now? All right. So now my spine is ready to go in my book. So here's my book, and we're going to be attaching it. You'll see that there should be a crease right about where you need to fold it there, which is excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn mine over. You can apply glue here, or you can apply tape. I'm going to put tape to make it easier for me to use on the camera. I'm going to put this down. And I'm going to put it right down the center of this. Cut it just a little too long. Trim that there. Good. Now I'm going to press it down for a second so I can get that on good. Excellent. Now, pull that backing off. I like to use a little bit of the double stick tape here just so that I can make sure that I have a good firm holding. I'm going to add glue over on this area that is not been folded. It's that score line border. And when you see what I'm talking about, can you see there? I'm going to flip this over now, and I'm going to line this up to where that score line here is in that crease, okay? Then I'm going to press this down, keeping it as straight as I can keep it. Now let me see how that looks. Did I get it in there straight enough? Not perfectly straight. Okay. Now, before you do anything else, pause for a few moments and let that glue sit. Because, see, these score lines are just made to give you an indication as to where we think your crease is going to be. Each one made is going to be a little different. So I'm going in with my burnishing tool and magnifying that crease because it may not hit exactly at that score line. Now I'll lift that up. That looks good. Holding that down, I'll lift that up. Looks like my spine. Yep, we're pretty good there. I don't want glue in that crease, so that's the reason why if it doesn't hold, you're going to need to go back and put some more tape. Let's see here. And I'd rather show you odds of if you don't get enough glue on there, this is what happens type thing. I'd love to say I did that deliberately, but I did not. I just know this tape holds about everything. So let me get it back down and put a lot more glue in there. I'm pulling it up a bit. Okay. And I'm going to press it down. And then I'm going to let that sit. I'm not going to move it for probably 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm going to do that other side too. Because I'm thinking this tape is about the only thing that's going to adhere good to the gaff tape. Okay. Okay. And then put my glue down again. And I'm putting it heavily. Shouldn't have gotten it up on that side there, but it'll dry. And I'm pressing that down firmly. Okay. Now, before that glue dries, since I got some in my crease, I'm going to raise it up and lower it so it won't hold in that crease. Okay, make sure this side works too. It does. Good. So that's going to dry for 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, so let's pause the video here and we'll come back after that dries. All right, now that our glue has dried very well, we're going to anchor it down to the book. And I'm just going to make sure it's creased nicely here. Good. It's holding well. So I'm going to take my tape. And this is going to be awkward on camera, but I'm going to try to get it done. I'm going to put my tape on here. I'm going to put a lot of tape. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side while I'm doing this. My glue's not completely dry, but it's close enough. I feel pretty confident. It ain't coming up now. So we did, to secure that spine, just a quick review, we did put double stick adhesive tape, which is a must, and glue heavily to make that work really good. Okay. Good. Now that I've got the tape on there, you'll notice one thing a little different here. Normally when I put the inside cover in, I tend to miter the corners from here to here, but I don't need to because I cut this specifically smaller than the book itself. So we're good there. So now I'm going to go and make sure these are burnished down good. Pull my backing off and add my glue. I'm going to add the glue between my tapes that I put on here, just to give it extra security. Okay, so now we'll add the glue. Excellent. Pull that over. Press it down. Bend it up. And voila. Perfect. Do the same on this side. Now be careful you don't pull it off the back of your spine there. You don't want to pull it off your back spine piece. I've got a little bit there. One more. Okay, and then I'm going to put that over and burnish it down. Good, good. And then raise it up. Oh, yeah. So now my book looks great. I've got my spine, my gussets, my covers all done. We're ready to dive into the book itself, guys. Remember, don't start the cover decor, because if you do, it's going to be hard to lay it flat because of the stuff on the front, okay? So skip to the end for that. Just put those items back in your packet until you need them later. Now we're going to go ahead and work with our pages. For your pages, you're going to find you've got 8 pieces of paper or cardstock, but you only have 4 pages in the book. How that works is you take the first page and you'll see a 1/2 inch score line on there. You're going to take that score line. I'm going to bend it over easily here. Burnish it down like that. I'm going to take my tape and put it on top of that line. I grabbed 3/8 inch. I meant to grab 1/4 inch, but it doesn't make any difference. And burnish that down. So you're going to do this on all 8 pieces. So let's go through and do that real quick. Okay. I'll get the 1/4 inch one out. Okay, next one. And yes, I am putting the tape on the outside of that flap. All right, now that we've got the tape on all of them and they've been burnished down, okay, I want you to go through and just quickly do a quick miter on every corner. You're just kind of angling it, okay, just a quick one. This will make things easier to slide in and out of. All right, now that we've got every corner mitered, all right, what we're going to do, this is going to surprise you, so let me see if I can get this all cleaned up. I'm going to take this here, pull my backing off. I'm going to take my glue and just run a very light lace of glue down through there. Then I'm going to take this piece. Now watch carefully here. This is folded over. It's got the tape and the glue. I'm going to lay this piece directly beside it. Now I'm going to have to get my head in the picture, I'm afraid, but I'm lining them up carefully. Okay, to where they're straight. Then I'm bending that flap over. Now, see, it lines up perfectly. Cool, huh? That's how you get the first one. Then the second part of it is you take off your backing here. Add a little bit of glue. Just to give you a little extra wiggle room. Hold this down and lay this straight on top. Now you have a sleeve. Now let me show you how we're going to do this. See, this will actually slide over the gusset. Just, if I can get it in there. There we go. It will slide over the gusset like that, so that you'll have pages like that. So go ahead and do the rest of them the same way. You're going to do 4 pages like this, so you need 2 on each one. So go ahead and go off camera and do those, and I'll be back. All right, now, for the pages, they're going to slide in over your miter like this. You do not want them to go all the way down. If they do, it'll be harder to turn the page. So you want them to fit nicely, so you can try them. If it doesn't fit well, miter it just a little bit more so that your edges there will slide over. You can see how it fits. You should have about that much space, okay? Now, the reason why I'm telling you to try them before you do the next step is because if you need to trim, now's the time to do it. All of mine fit, so I'm good to go there. So I've got my 4 pages. Now, this is important. You need to take your tape and you're going to run it along this edge, okay? Keep it inside the miter. So we're going to do that on all 4 of them on this side, and then we're going to go back and do it on all 4 on the other side. I'm putting it near the top, folks. I'm not putting it low. Why? Because the pocket won't go low. Very important. See how close they are to the top? They're very, very close to the top edge. Now I turn my book around and I do the same thing on the opposite end. Just like that. Again, towards the top edge. Now see there, I missed. It slid down before I could get it pressed. There we go. This is going to be tucked away, so I'm not worried about it showing any tears. This is going to be inside my page. Doesn't matter what it looks like. And I'm not worried about the edges showing. Okay, now burnish those down. Varnish. Okay, make sure the tape's on good. Good, excellent. Now leave it. Don't pull the backs off. We're not going to put our pages in yet. We're just prepared for them when we get to that point. Now, before we put our pages or start decorating the pages or the front and the back cover, the last part of your page is, this is going to be going in like this. When I get it. Okay, that's close enough. There we go. Then this is your insert. This is going to slide in like this. Notice it leaves, when it slides all the way in, it stops because of that spine. See? So what you're going to do is you're going to put a pretty paper border over this and over this side here so that you'll have a nice edge showing, and people can put photographs, make diary entries, whatever, on this insert card. But you're going to put these in every one of the pages okay? And what I do is I round the corners of these. So you can use a corner rounder of any kind. I'm just going to use a medium-sized shape here. Yeah, I like that. And that way, when I stick it in, see, it looks like it's supposed to be pulled out. I think you can see it. See? Okay. It's actually the same length as this, but your spine keeps it from going down because we're going to seal this against that spine here in a little bit. So you can go ahead and put the borders on each of these pieces of the inserts on this side and this side. That'll be perfectly fine. You can be working on that and rounding the corners. And then we're going to proceed on to the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.